Tu veux connaître mon rêve le plus cher, Georges? Oui, dis-moi. Mon rêve le plus cher, Georges, c'est d'être le seul blouson au monde.
What's going on now? What's going on, everybody? Got Perry here next to me again because today we are reviewing a film called Deerskin that is written and is it written by Quentin Dupieux? So it's written and directed by Quentin Dupieux, and it stars John Dujardin and Adele Haenel from Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was one of the many reasons why this film really intrigued me and definitely made me want to go see it. The main reason why I have Perry here with me is because this is a film that we were both planning to see before COVID hit really hard. Perry went to go see Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and this played like as a trailer, right?
Yeah, it was when we went back in February, so we've been looking towards this film for months now.
Yeah, because you I saw a trailer to this film for some other film, because you actually went to go see Portrait with Eric. I didn't even go see it with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I think I saw this film on, the trailer on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I tried to send it to you, but I think they took it down.
Yeah,
but
that's
then
what happened.
they put it back up, and I sent it to you, and I'm like, this looks great.
Yeah. Either way, it was definitely a film that caught our eye, and we really wanted to go see it, but unfortunately due to COVID, we couldn't watch it. But we just recently heard from, I'm going to give a shout out to the Cynic Critic. He informed us that this was out. This released yesterday on VOD, so if you guys have Prime, or I think you can even rent this on YouTube. So you can rent this on YouTube or Prime for like $3.99, $4.99, something like that. I'm just going to get right into it. My thoughts out of the gate is I actually really, really enjoyed this film. It's an incredibly unique film. I don't think anybody can come out of this film saying that they've seen something that's like this one. I mean, they can maybe make comparisons in terms of how it dives into the whole like sociopathic type thing. I mean, there's plenty of films with that. But the subject and like the center point of this film is something that's just so odd and so strange, but yet it feels incredibly purposeful, and it feels like it definitely has a point to what it's doing. I think overall it works. I mean, I don't think, obviously, like, I don't think it's perfect or anything. I think there are things about it that I thought could have been better, but overall, I actually really, really enjoyed this film, and I just like how I was able to take a really strange and unique concept and make it into something that was really insightful and just really engaging. But what I will say is one of the things that I am kind of like on the fence about is I think that this film didn't really have something like in the beginning that was engaging. I think this film takes a little bit too long to actually get like really interesting, because like most great films have something striking like in the beginning, like have something that just like really gets you into the film and you're just like, wow, like this is going to be great. But this one doesn't really do that. It starts off slow. It doesn't really give you much. And eventually it gets to the really like, it gets to the stuff that's actually engaging and actually intriguing. But it takes a while to actually get there. And I thought maybe if this film had something that was a bit more striking, like in the first 10 or 15 minutes, maybe I think more people would actually like this film. I'm not sure what people are going to think about this film. Let me just say that, because I haven't heard really anybody talk about this film yet. I haven't looked up any reviews. I don't even know if there's any people on YouTube talking about this right now. But I don't know what people are going to think about this film. I can see some people like not liking this film at all, to be honest. But like I said, like I had some issues with it, and that was one of them. But overall, I do think that this was a really fun and intriguing watch. And this is definitely like kind of like on the dark side. It's kind of like a dark comedy type of approach. And I think overall it worked. But I've talked too much. I'll go ahead and try to give Perry the floor here, and so he can give his thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's funny because I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, although it is like, in terms of symbolism, it is very obvious. Like, I kind of knew what it was going for in the first 10 minutes. Not that it didn't give me a lot of chew on, because I definitely got, quite a bit of different themes out of this film. And I just thought it was a really fascinating character study.
It's very interpretive.
Yes, it is very interpretive. But I don't think it challenges me like, oh, I really got to dig deep for this one. Yeah. It's not like watching like Mulholland Drive or something like that, where you really have to break down the film to really get what the film is going for. I feel like it's really easy to pick up what it's putting down. Yeah, it's not. Don't go into this it's definitely like artsy, but don't go into this expecting something that's so avant-garde, perplexing. Don't expect coming out of this film just completely fucking confused at what you just saw. I mean, some people will be somewhat confused, but I found this film to be really straightforward. Yeah. This is a really kind of easy to follow. I guess it's really easy to digest as well. Even though there are darker elements to this, and it is really odd and strange. It definitely has a more linear, straightforward nature to it compared to a David Lynch film or something. Yeah, I could see this film being very divisive because for anybody that doesn't know who Quentin Dupieux is, he directed Rubber, which is an extremely divisive film. I remember hearing about that film forever ago, and I just laughed it off, honestly. I was like, that film sounds absolutely ridiculous. I have no interest in watching that. Because it was, just the poster, it was it's just from the poster I got that it's some sort of killer tire or something like that. So I was like, this just looks like some sort of Sharknado thing that, I know there's an audience of people who really like B-grade stuff, but that's only something that I would watch if I'm hammered drunk or something and I want to just have a good time. Yeah, but weirdly enough, it was supposed to be a social commentary on audiences. Yeah. And, what audience expect from films and filmmaking in terms of content. So it's actually much deeper. Or it's not so deep, but it was more insightful than I think I assumed. Well, that's the thing is a lot of people said it tried to be deep, but it just came off really pretentious. And I could see a lot of people saying that this film is trying to be deep, but it comes off very hollow and superficial. Yeah. But I don't necessarily agree with that. It is obvious, but I wouldn't say it's a superficial or hollow film. It's definitely thematically rich. Honestly, after seeing Deerskin, I might go check it out. Me too. Because, like I said, I actually really, really enjoyed this film. I think, in terms of what this film has to say, the way, what I got out of it, personally, this is definitely gonna, differ. Depending on who's watching it, but I thought this had a lot to say about fashion and how one's clothing can really influence somebody's personality to the point where it gets kind of dangerous and people can really lose who they are. And that was one of the main things I got from it, and I thought it was I personally found it insightful. I thought it was really intriguing to see it kind of take this more extreme approach to it, but I thought it was really cool. Just the whole deerskin aspect is really interesting. I'm not gonna spoil what that has to do with the film or anything, but I thought they took that concept really well and ran with it, and it really worked for the most part. Especially the ending to this film. I really love the ending to this. It's one of those endings that you don't really see coming at all. It just happens, and you're just But you feel like you should have seen it coming. That's true, yeah. Because it's set up in a way to where you would kind of expect something... You would expect that thing to come and bite him in the ass. And it does in a way. But mostly I like how, in the ending of this film, the way that, the deerskin and the concept of deer and sport, the way that it's handled at the end, I thought was really creative. And it really worked. Portrait of a Lady on Fire girl. Adele Haenel. She was great in this movie. She didn't have that much to work with here, but she was great. I liked the direction that the film took her character in the end. I thought I thought her character arc at the end was something that was really interesting because the whole film you don't really know how she's going to react to what's happening once it's finally found out, and once it's kind of revealed, her reaction to it was kind of compelling and it was really interesting. But, yeah, anything to say about that, Perry? Or in general, about the film? One thing I really say about this film is, another thing I got out of this film is I think it's actually really socially relevant to the time we live in, because I don't think our world has ever been more vapid, ever been more superficial than it is now.
Interesting.
And I honestly, like, the main character, he's a complete narcissistic sociopath. And to be honest, like, the way he carried himself and the way he talked and the way he, just acted, it made me think of, social influencers and clout chasers, people that chase attention and want to feel so much more important than they actually are. Because that's the big thing I got out of his character. Because his whole obsession with his deerskin jacket comes from, like, the character's yearning to want to feel so important and unique, like he's one in a billion and there will never be another person like him. And I just love how the film, like, mocks that type of, egotism, because that's really just, like, the human ego cranked up to max level. One thing I will say is, like, you were talking about how you couldn't get into it from the first 10-15 minutes. I love the setup of this film because he clearly hates himself. Like, he becomes, he's very narcissistic and, very egotistical, but he clearly hates himself. And this obsession with the deerskin jacket and deerskin in general comes from him wanting to reinvent himself. Like, he wants to be somebody else. He wants to be anybody but himself. Just like clout chasers, they want to be anybody but themselves. Which is what I believe personally. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I believe that a lot of social media figures, I do think a lot of those people want to be somebody from themselves, and they clearly have very deep self-esteem issues.
I really don't disagree with anything you just said. I think it makes a lot of sense.
One thing that really bothered me about this film is the body work. Because there were, like, when there's certain, like, when you see a dead body, obviously it's not a real dead body. They make, like a
plaster or something.
Yeah, like a plaster. The bodywork in this film looked incredibly fake. One scene in particular, there were a couple of scenes where it didn't look so bad, but there was one scene in particular that I'm obviously not going to go deep into, where it just looked incredibly fake, and it was so jarring. Like, it was honestly laughably bad.
For some reason, that scene, I know exactly what scene you're talking about, and for some reason that scene didn't, like, bother me that much. I don't know why. I feel like it should have. That's probably right on, but since we're talking about things about the film that we didn't like so much, I think this film gets to a point where you have to suspend your disbelief. To the point where, like, not only do you not think that the main character can, like, get away with all this as much as he is, but just how he's doing it. And I don't want to get to too much spoilers, but there's a way that he's doing it. It's something that you kind of just have to, like, turn your brain off for a second and just be like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. That actually wouldn't happen. There's no way that could have done that. And it's unfortunate because I feel like if this film, like, toned it down and didn't get so, like, wild with it, it would have been more unsettling and would have been darker. But since when it came to, like, some of the more, like, violent and mature stuff, it felt like a little too, like, goofy and wacky sometimes. And I felt like that was kind of a missed opportunity because it was the setup on its own was unsettling. Like, the concept itself is unsettling. But the way that it was done felt like, again, just a little too over the top, not really believable, and it's just something that it was kind of hard to admire fully because it just seemed like missed potential. Even though, like, it's obviously like a con of the film, I think this film still had, like, a lot to offer. Like, this film, like I was saying in the beginning, it's really strange, it's unique, but it's very purposeful, and the comedy works pretty much. Like, there's pretty much all the actual, like, attempts at comedy I thought was really effective. And I think the dynamic between the two main characters in this film was really interesting, and you're kind of just waiting like for most of the time to see like what it builds up to, and I thought the payoff like at the end of what it actually builds up to was satisfying. It was really interesting. So overall, I think I'm gonna go to give my rating. I think I'm gonna give Deerskin an 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yes. 8 out of skin. An 8 out of skin for Deer 10. But, go ahead.
Yeah, as much as I thoroughly enjoyed this film, it's definitely not perfect, definitely has a lot of flaws. I really appreciate its social relevance and, for the most part, its overall approach. Like, it even uses movie references. It doesn't use movie references as jokes, but it incorporates movie reference into jokes. It's not like most stupid mainstream films. It's not like Ready Player One, where it's like movie reference and that's the joke.
Yeah.
It uses a movie reference and turns it into a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this film was hilarious. Like, this is probably definitely the funniest film I've seen of 2020, which is saying a lot because I saw Palm Springs and,
I haven't seen Palm Springs, so I don't know. I'll watch it eventually.
Controversial opinion here, but I prefer this film over First Cow and Palm Springs.
What about The Lodge?
No, I still like The Lodge a lot more. As much as I enjoyed this film, the Lodge is very good.
Yeah. This
is just an overall solid, very enjoyable experience. I'm gonna give Deerskin a 7 out of 10.
Ah, interesting. I was gonna give it a 7, like up until that ending, and the ending I just really fell in love with. So I was like, I think I have to give it an 8.
Which is weird because I can see like, so many people
hating the ending. Yeah. That movie in general, but the ending, I can see people being really turned off by it.
Yeah, it's crazy because this movie gave me so many different vibes. It gave me House that Jack Built vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that.
No, I definitely got that.
Yeah.
American Psycho vibes.
Yes, definitely.
So, obviously, we both think that this is a really unique movie that's worth checking out. Honestly, I think even, like, a casual could watch this, and, I'm not sure if they'll be into it, but I think there's a decent chance that they might like it. It's not, like, that hard to take in. It's not that, like, crazy. It's really unique, but it's only unique because of just, like, the subject matter and how it goes about it, but the overall, like, filmmaking approach isn't too crazy.
Yeah.
But, I guess that's it. That's all we got to say about Deerskin. Stay tuned for my review for Tetsuo and Houseu tomorrow. I'm really excited to talk about that, so please stay tuned for that. And if you really enjoyed what we had to say about Deerskin, please give this video a like and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.